Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vikas Jain LIVE Show. So, I'm sure you must be doing something great in your life. And with all the hustle and fuzzle, whatever is happening in today's world, I'm sure you are having a good time. And with the same learning shows that we are having all the time, today we have an amazing guest. So, our today's guest is Krishne Gowda. And just to give you a quick introduction before I invite him in this webinar, he is having more than 25 years of experience. So he's an entrepreneur, blogger, trainer, and speaker, founder of Chris School of Web. And he's having more than 25 years of experience, as I mentioned, in web designing and development. He's having a dream of being a full-time farmer one day, and he is having a long list of bucket list of wishes that he want to complete in this life. So the program will be on breaking UX myth and building world class design. So, with that, I would like to invite Krishna in the call. So, hi, Krishna, how are you?
Hey Vikas, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Doing good. Hope you're also doing well.
Yes, yes. Thanks for accepting our invitation to be on the show.
My pleasure.
Great. So, what do you want to talk about first? About your bucket list or how to break the UX myth? Or is there any correlation between the two as well?
Uh, Nothing really. I believe UX or user experience is part and parcel of everyone's life. It's not just for your website, mobile app, or thing. So, or your just to put it in a simple words, user experience is nothing but common sense. Common sense in your day-to-day activities, common sense in your design, common sense in your planning, common sense in your. You can just take it that particular way. Uh, Coming to my bucket list is quite elaborate. I want to travel the entire India on my bullet. Nothing to do with user experience, but so just to understand the culture, the shift in the culture, society and stuff. Another thing is to run till the Dasarath Manji Road and be there, stay at least a night on the road Dasarath Manji had built. That's one the kind of effort it like so his dedication is what which encourages me. I try to be dedicated and to be always on online on the map to do things and I keep failing on that one so that doesn't happen. So I thought he should be the inspiration and just that's one thing on the bucket list.
Oh, that sounds like a great list of bucket, and I'm also showing that link in the button where people can go and read about your bucket list in detail.
Thank you.
Right now, talking about your UX myth, you said that it's an everyday thing and it is applicable for not just website designing and mobile application. It is applicable for each and everything. Can you explain a bit more that what have been your recent experiences or past experiences with that?
So, see, generally, uh, when we start a project, so assume it's a website or a app or any project, any such project, right? Many people think that UX is the last thing to think of. In recently, I was called for by a company by a startup to look at the design and so give them a better UX. And believe me, they had completely built the product and they thought it's market ready, but so they were nowhere near the market ready because of the UX. There was no UX at all. It was only basic design, basic stuff. The back end might be good, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't, there are hundreds and thousands of projects in the products in the market, and there are so many competitors. If I'm not serving the user to the best, right? So users will walk out. Users won't stick to your product. So the very important key is to start UX from the beginning. So in fact, they should start from the day one with the UX and start doing it. And many people believe that user experience or getting with the proper UX is very costly affair. Need not be. Need not be it can be as cheap as this one. As I said, it's user experience is common sense and applying common sense so may not be costly here. So there are multiple ways, like multiple methodologies like what we use, which makes things little pricey. But there are simple and easy ways which like a better product can be built. So there are just simply we can just go inspired. I won't say the word copy, but let's get inspired by a lot of other beautiful products like being in the market and build something similar to them. There are as of today there are hundreds of beautiful apps like which are very user friendly and generic. So I
Okay.
would start on the UX from day one. Don't wait for the entire thing to be built and then do the UX. So that's one thing that I would strongly say to anybody who's planning to build their website or mobile app
Okay.
or
Okay.
any application.
That's a beautiful insight that there are so many low cost ways as well where one can think about the UX. But let's get to that question again that you mentioned that that client like was building the product earlier, but they have not thought about the UX. So why do you think that kind of mindset exists that people will build the backend first, like, and as you mentioned earlier, probably spend 1.5 year in building the backend, but they didn't took it that UX part seriously, that they should actually think about building the UX as well parallelly.
I think like so there are a lot of misconceptions regarding UX. Like, so few people think like it's very costly affair, and few people think it's very simple task to be done. They think like there are a lot of templates available. We can just download and use the template and build a product. Or with I don't know. Might be these are the two things like what make them to think in that particular way.
Okay.
I think that's even with the recent experience with the client. They thought it's the backend. If the backend is robust, if they build the backend, which takes a lot of time to build, they thought like so we'll just build the backend first and then think of UX. But they lost a lot of time just because they didn't have the UX. If they had a proper plan with the design, like and all of those things, they would have built the backend much faster and in much cheaper ways. Now, what's happening is like, so since the UX, the plan, the flow is not as per the standards, we are suggesting a lot of the flow changes and like a lot of different things. They have to
Okay.
rebuild the backend. The backend flows, the backend algorithm is getting changed. So that could be avoided. Like, so it's an extra cost actually. So they're spending more than what they would have spent if they started UX in the beginning.
Right. And it's an interesting observation when we were having one-on-one conversation. You mentioned that they have spent like 1.5 year to build the backend, but then now they think that you can just build the UX in say 10 days.
Yeah, yes, that's the other thing. Like, and I, I, uh, I literally don't understand the mindset of the developers. Um, many now the at least like the thing is changing today. The trend is changing. Like everybody gives more effort to the UI UX, but like so still there are certain companies, certain people would think like the backend is what like which works, and the algorithm, the logic they are working on.
Makes sense.
It just happens like and it's currently changing like so many people are working towards coming up with a better user experience though.
Sure, sure, sure. Thanks for sharing that. And for the audience, in case they have some question, they can write in the chat box below, and we'll be taking up those questions towards the end with Krishna, and we'll try that we cover all of your question there. Now, again, that question about UX is in the bigger circle part of the customer experience, that how we can create and knowing your customer. So it's not just the back end part, but knowing the customer what they need. And as a design thinking facilitator myself, and you also are into specialization into the design thinking, which talks about first we think about the customer first. And if we start thinking about the customer and in the prototype model itself, I think this is most of the UX which will come out, that how we can create the customer experience and how customer is going to interact with our application. What's your past experience with that?
So see like the customers come with the past experience, whether it's using physical systems or more similar kind of applications, right? It's always better to go with the past systems or adapt the past experiences of the user and then build systems on top of like whatever the users are this one. if you have to train a user, right, like to do something new as like what he was already doing, that might be a task, and that's where
Okay.
like the UX fails. So probably like understanding the user's mindset, like understanding the user behavior in the beginning before we start thinking of the prototypes and the stuff. Like so, it's very crucial, and like that's what like the major task to the UX guy is, right? Like and working on that particular principles, like, so will make life more easier later on. So
Okay.
we have to take a example like they were I was working for a group agriculture based app wherein we were targeting the farmers. So mostly the farmers, like, so we like the company wanted to build a mobile app wherein we will have all latest products and like all the agricultural requirements, the pesticides, the all the inputs required for a farmer would be available on the app, and like he could choose. But
Okay.
the major problem here is like the mobile itself, the smartphone, right? Like the smartphone, most of the farmers, right, like were not using the smartphone, or even if they were using it, so they were not very efficient in using them. So then, like, so we came up with like a voice-based search, right? So because like again, educating the user on voice-based to use the voice-based app like was a task, but like at least somehow
Yes.
like we gave some what do you call it the examples, like the walkthroughs through the as soon as they open the app, there was a walkthrough, and like so there were demos like given to them on a video and on the app side, which made life more easier, and which we could easily get the farmers use the app, and like which was kind of not successful, but like still we made an effort to reach out to the app, like to reach out to the farmers and like get starting make them start make them use the app. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
such a
making to understand the first farmer's needs first and before building the product itself.
yes, like there one other important thing like what we faced here is like the ability of a farmer to use the technology as well. That also played a major role. But like so, we could overcome those like so gradually, and then we could do it.
Okay, so how should you mentioned earlier that there are some low cost ways also to build the UX, and it's not always that it's an expensive thing. So what are the other alternatives? How if a company or a CTO is now building a team to get the UX done and build the product, what should be their thought process? What they can do?
See, there are a lot of so see like most of the time like any app or any services like what we are providing may not be like we may not be the first guys like, who are building that kind of app. Like, so there are plenty of other
Yes.
examples for us to look through. And as a designer, as a UX guy, you would have built like hundreds and thousands of other products and apps. So heuristics plays a major role here. So wherein like your past experience, so the way like the data what is present already in this industry, right? So using them, that analysis, that analytics like, will help us come up with like better stuff like, so rather than doing user research and like so many other costly affairs, right? So I would say like using like so the more cheaper options like, so would be the best way if you're not ready to invest like a big chunk of the thing like onto the design.
Okay, but still, can you give me one very specific example, like what they should do? Like, what is one app or what where they should go out to find the data? Like, any example that what you did and it was a low cost
Yes, we
example.
use analytics. Google Analytics can be a place like, so where we can see like how the if at all if you're building something like if you're redesigning something, you can see like how in the past like what was the use cases, like how the users treated our product, and like, you can get the analytics from that particular place and you can rebuild it. If you're building something new altogether, like, so if there is no such data available, you can see like your competitor like there are plenty of competitor analysis sites which will give you the data like how the whole thing works and like what people are looking for. Say assume like I'm trying to build something similar to YouTube,
Okay.
right? Like, so and then based on the genre and based on the user category, right? Like, so the kind of where like what would be your target audience or target user group, right? So you can get the analysis done and then start building based on the past experiences like of this one. So It can there are lot of ways. The competitor analysis can be done, like user analysis can be done. All of those data is available. So there are a lot of tools which provide them. So you can just use and build on them.
Okay. And whenever they are going to hire, say they are hiring you as a their consultant for the UX design, like what are the key qualities that they should look for, or probably as a UX person, when you engage with a client, what are the things that they should do the homework first before contacting an external consultant?
So one thing is like past experiences on the projects. Like say, assume I might have worked on a domain, right? Like so completely altogether a different domain, and like so they might be from a different domain. And at that particular point, like so they should understand. Like so, generally, what happens is like it would be difficult for a guy like who has already worked in a specific domain, and like so might be I'm working in the finance, and like if I have to quickly jump into agriculture, agro domain or health domain, and like so doing the stuff like so might be a little difficult. So he has to look. The companies has to look at the thing that's where if the designer, if the UX guy, like if he's more flexible, if he understands the thing that if he's ready to shift and if he can deliver the output that in that particular way, right? Like
Okay.
some people like get like typecasted or this one like on specific stuff and they stay in that particular thing. So they won't they won't even think on the different aspects or different perspectives like here. So it's very important like to the UX guy to think from the different perspective on different industry thing, right? Like so, the companies need to understand that particular way. Like so, wherein if he is flexible enough, like if he can jump into the that particular thing and if he is able to deliver the work. So I would say like that would be the main thing to look for.
Okay, that's an interesting insight, because lot many companies are building world class products, but somehow, because of not knowing the right processes, they want to build such a product, but because of not knowing the right things, they fail in between. And we have so many stories where majority of the softwares that are built are not reaching to the hand of the customer. So
So,
in during the process itself, they are not getting the desired thing, right? Okay. So any interesting project that you have worked upon and you would like to share, that how you solve the UX? Any, you shared about a farmer thing where a voice based thing was done, but any international project on anything where you want to share that how you build that product and what was the best practice that was implemented there?
so I would go with the agro product like for agriplex. That's what we built. So agriplex, like there were like a different kind of data which was to be presented over there. So they were like disease-based. The thing was that this particular product like serves the farmers, and it helps. It provides all the agricultural requirements, like the agro inputs for a farmer. So whatever farmer requires, it would be a seed, or it could be a pesticides, right? Or it could be fertilizers. So there were three different categories here, like so main categories. And if I'm a farmer and if I'm a paddy farmer, I'm interested in only in the paddy related stuff. Or might be like so based on multiple this one, right? Like multiple stages of the farming. So assume like my paddy is already sown and like I'm in between in the first 2 months part, right? In at that particular stage, the requirement would be different. So like
Hmm.
what we made was like giving the farmer to choose the level where he is, like, and like start some giving him the inputs like so required at that particular stage. So I can choose rather than showing him like entire set of all the products which are available. We get to know that like so okay, this particular farmer is a paddy farmer based on this registration thing like and based on the selection thing. So the content, whatever content like would be shown to him is like the paddy related, and he can choose the other part only if required. Otherwise, it's
Okay.
only paddy related. Whether if he wants not letting him more confused with more data and stuff, giving it more simplified. And we also made a simple thing like so wherein choosing the level, right? Like so, if you had a infections or something, you can either call or send a voice note or send a picture.
Okay.
Based on the picture, the voice note, and the soil condition and the climate condition, the pesticides would be given to him. pesticides were actually not. It was manic. What do you call? The pesticides were like agro scientists. Like there will be scientists like empaneled who will look at who will check the stuff and like he will suggest the typical stuff like whatever which are required. So it was done in that particular way, like so wherein there were multiple users like which were in this particular app like when we built. So it was quite challenging and like it took almost 6 months and like so we went on lot of farm visits and like lot of pesticide shops, like so, fertilizer stores, understanding the dealer, understanding the farmer, like and there were a lot of things like which went on. I would say like so
Okay.
that was it was almost like it went for almost around 14 months for us to complete the project.
Okay, that's great, Krishna. Thanks for sharing that. We have a question here. So, Shavi Singhal is asking how to develop UX skills. So, when we are talking about that, okay, these skills are important, but how do one go about building those skills?
So there are two parts, right? Like so, one is the research-based user UX part. Other one is implementing them and putting them. So there are different perspectives, also different ways. Like so, what people say. I believe in a way like so wherein a UX guy should be able to implement the UX ideas. A designer should be like so. Yeah, it should be known in such that particular way. When you are working on a small scale, like, that's the way like it works. Like, so, but in bigger companies, it may not be possible. So to develop, I would say like start with the basic UI tools, understand the tools, like so learn the tools. Once you learn the tools, then you can get on and get into the more and more deeper UX knowledge, right? So to start with the tools. Start with any UX tool. Like so, you can go with Figma, you can go with XD, Sketch, or any of these tools. Learn them. Start building. Start designing stuff. So once you start designing stuff, like so probably that will take you through the process. Like so, if you're doing it on your own, if you there are multiple ways. There are a lot of courses which are offered, so you can take up any of those courses. Like so, there are a lot of online courses, Udemy, um, many platforms have provide these UX courses, beautiful courses. You can take up there or join any of those premium companies like premium institutes which are providing these skills.
Okay, that's great. And
Yeah,
always to remember, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
one very important thing is like choose the course that's where you get to do both the tools as well as the UX part.
Okay, and just wanted to say that Chris School of Web, one can also join definitely and go and learn those courses. So,
Yes.
Krishna, it's visible that probably so far in the IT industry we were doing the backend type of work. Most of the service companies is that we have if we look at the last 20 years, we have done most of the services type of business from India, right? But now as we are building products, so now we need more of the designer skills, the people who understand UI UX, right? So at the India level to grow, I think we need more of such institutions. So are you also planning that how we can inculcate this skill in the college students as well, so that we have masses who are knowing these skills?
Yes, like in fact, like I'm already in talk with a few colleges in Mysore here. So where we are trying to propose, we are already proposing the college management to integrate our courses in their curriculum and then to work with them. So and like it's very important and it's one of the crucial skills. Like so when it comes to software development and app development, uh, so that's where like the many products fail because of the usability, right? So making the things more usable, more simple may lead to better success rate of the products. So uh, I mean
Okay.
like in today's day, like so lot of these companies are giving stress on this particular thing.
Okay, that's great. So thanks, Krishnesh, for sharing all the details and breaking myths about UX. That it's not an expensive process, and it is much required process. Even if whatever expense is required in the time of effort, in the time of money that is required to be spent, it is essential. Like coming back to your vision mission. So what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve in this life?
uh, I don't know, this is like um I want each and every person to die a peaceful life. peaceful death. So I've seen people struggling in various things. At least their death or their like end game should be should be peaceful, right? Like that's what like I want to build something. I want to educate people, if possible, like support like one another. And there is hatred everywhere. I want people to support support whoever, whatever, right? Like so many we cross, like we see, keep seeing so many stories every day, everywhere. At least the we can't make people live happily when they're living. At least the elderly, the people who are in their this one, their last few years or last few days or last few years, like I would say, should be very peaceful. That's what like this one. And I would strongly work towards that particular thing, to make uh, people have a peaceful end game, or peaceful death, I would say, without
That's
any.
a very emotional side of thing. But would you like to extend it further, where it is coming from? That have you? Is there any personal experience or something? But before you answer that question, uh, Chavi Singhal said, thank you for your question. We have another question in the pipeline from Ramaraj. But before taking his question, would like to just ask: is there any personal experience of yours?
I've seen like so for various purposes, like so might be it could be various reasons, like people won't take care of their own parents, like I've and it's that's the painful part. So I don't want that to happen to anyone. Um, I've seen like many close things, but I
Okay,
don't want to say them here.
I, I,
But I've seen like so many stuff, and like
great,
I don't
great.
I don't want people to I want people to care for their near and dear ones, right? Like so a short life.
I totally agree. I understand that we may not have that clarity that what we want to achieve or how we want to achieve, first of all. But I think that's a great area to be. So one of the message that I cover in that live, that is there in my logo, which is live is not just that Vikas Jain is live, but live is also means that can we live a proper life? Can we live the life of freedom that we want to be? And that's why I ask every guest speaker in my question, in my show, that how they want to live, what they want to achieve in this life, right? And we have another question from Ramaraj M. So he's I'm having PhD media. I have knowledge on HTML, CSS, JS, Photoshop, Illustrator, React JS. Can I move to UX research in companies? I have 4+ codings and non-coding project. I have less knowledge on coding, so less of coding experience, but still having the knowledge about the required tools. So what's your suggestion for him?
Exhaustive knowledge. Um yeah, you can definitely move into the UX research. Like, so, in fact, like you will have an upper hand when you get into the UX, like with having a lot of knowledge on all of this programming languages, and like so already having worked on like a lot of projects, right? So you said like you work with 4+ coding and non-coding projects, like so that will help you understand, like you already know like a lot of pain points when you're doing this. So this will help you to suggest like better thing, and you'll, as I said, like you'll have an upper hand like when you're if you get into UX. And generally, I've seen this one other behavior on the UX experts and UX designers. One of the UX expert I met was a sociology PhD holder, right? Like, and it just like intrigued me, and like just asked him like why, like I see like engineers or I see design from the design background people coming into UX and stuff. Sociology is what like when we that's where like we learn how to interact with the people. It talks about family, it talks about like the social connections and stuff. So all of this like so plays a major role. So people from various different backgrounds coming into this particular field, it just enriches. And like me being an engineer, me being a technical all over, and like I can't think the way you from a different background coming in, right? Like, so a finance guy coming into UX, or a or a proper artist coming into a UX, right? Like so, they're different perspectives, and like when you have different perspectives, that's when the products evolve and like it makes a beautiful thing. So you make a better Ramraj, like go ahead, like
Ye-
you are already
yes.
in the stage.
Yes, I think he's probably focusing that less of knowledge of coding, but he always is already having the required skills, that a PhD in media understanding and that knowledge of tools. I think that makes a very apt choice for a UX research company. And probably Ramaraj, in case you have further question from Krish, you can always contact him through his website. So that is also possible. Right. Thanks, Ramaraj, for asking this question. With that, Krishna, we are coming towards the end of this show. Thanks for sparing your time to come on the show. Any last message for people, like how they can build? Any last myth or anything? Last message for people who are building good products and world class product? What they can do?
So start early on the UX and find out like the simple, easy. It need not be always a costly affair for you to get started with. As I said, like UX is just basic common sense. Like so, try and adapt. Like so, whatever, depending on the product, like whatever you're building, like based on the user experiences, like based on the user understanding, user mindset. Like so, just do the basic drill. So probably you'll be able to do a good job over there. So. If I have to say, start early on the UX. So that would be the best one.
Thanks, Krishna. Thanks for coming on the show. And with that, I would like to take a leave from the show. Thank you, Krishna. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure being here. And
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, thanks guys for being on the show. And in case you have any further recommendation, any particular about topic that what you want to hear in the next show of Vikas Jain Live, do let me know in the comment box below. You can also contact me through my Instagram, which is at the rate Vikas Jain Live, or LinkedIn, which is having the same handle. With that, bye bye, have a nice day, great day, keep enjoying, keep learning, keep doing great things. Bye bye.